problem. We're crashing, brother. Not actually, but I went outside today and look at this. Look at this. Whatever's going on right here, look totally fine. Walked outside, almost dropped everything I was carrying. Just boom, boom, boom. It's like the Costco guys bringing the boom. Welcome to another edition of X-Feed. What's up? My name is The Schiller. I've been talking about NFTs, crypto, and all that kind of stuff. See, that's the way we intro the show, but I realize that almost like never that actually adds any validation because there's a lot of people that are in various chats, talking about NFTs, crypto, and all that kind of stuff. But I guess maybe it's a little bit different because, you're showing your face, giving your thoughts to an audience of whoever you are. So welcome on in. If this is your first time or if you're here for a while, oh, brother, we got a lot of things that we're going to go through. The banking committee. Listen, we were here before the governments. Now the governments are getting in, setting a whole bunch of things around. It kind of crazy to look at. There was some massive things on the timeline today regarding some FUD. What we have kind of set up to go through the show, we could probably have enough to go through 2 shows, to be totally honest. So we might get to that. But before we get into it, if you haven't seen, basically there was a airdrop for people that were a part of heavy metal. I think Legends of the Mara as well. I really haven't been focusing too much on that ecosystem. I had things before. It felt kind of weird, but the TLDR is that there's a lot of FUD on the timeline about it because there was too many steps to follow, or you had to do like these extra efforts of things. And so basically the takeaway from that notion happening is, any teams that figure out how to make things super easy and not have everybody raging on the timeline, they might do well. Roar, what's going on? How are we doing? Yo, did you say happy birthday to BSB? What a guy. All right, so Cynthia Loomis, the digital asset stream team, let's get to work. Nice. This is just nuts, right? So we were in this and we're like, hey, digital collectibles, owning your own assets, all this kind of crazy stuff. We thought about this a while ago and we're like, okay, this is cool. And now the governments are like, we need to actually form entire legislation, focus on this. This is a big deal. This is starting to eat the world, and kind of cool to see that is happening. And we were there before such a thing. All right. So a little bit of a plug, if you can mind me, before we get into the rest of the things, as we've talked about. Well, if you missed the stream yesterday, it's because I didn't do one, but we did upload a video with Matt Bartlett from the segment team. And every stream, I highlight how we've been doing the RWA segments podcast. They've been incredibly supportive of me. If you've enjoyed this channel, please go check that out. The link is in the description below. But as highlighted last week, the conversation for this week on the podcast upload is actually with the Revoke.cash team. So that episode is now live. If you're looking for some extra content, it's like a 20-minute interview. It's super insightful. It's with Roscoe Callis, who's the founder of this. We do get into the fact that they're now connected to Abstract Chain, and they're connected to like 100 plus different ones. And it's like a public service good. I didn't even realize that was the story behind Revoke, but we go into a whole bunch of stuff, and I would love for you guys to be able to check out that episode. Again, the link is in the description below or on my profile on X. Now, speaking of X, on January 27th, breaking, X, formerly known as Twitter, is reportedly transitioning its messaging system to XChat, or launching a new messaging service under the name XChat though details have not yet been confirmed. Okay, so I need to pause for a second, because we sit here and at face value, it's all right, they're changing the messaging system. Maybe the outline, the way that the interface is a little bit different. Maybe it's just simply the name. But what is the value of a messaging system? If you're somebody who used to use Facebook or still does, you remember at a point it used to only be Facebook, and then it switched to you need to download and use Messenger if you were using a mobile app. And we have Telegram. We could almost use every kind of platform. Like I'd say like Snapchat, Instagram, etc. But it feels like it's a little bit different because even for those ones, they do have individual chat windows within it, but what's the value of a messaging system that's out there? So we've talked a little bit about Silo before, about it. It's supposed to be decentralized communication. Still waiting to see some more documentation and everything around it. But the point being is, like, what's the value of that within Web3 if somebody's been able to create a new messaging system that does have uptick? And other things that have been happening in terms of new space, still waiting on our application over for Abstract. We're trying to get in on it. But What's funny is with this new platform, we are seeing people going out and doing kind of funny things. So this person is doing 10 push-ups for every tip donation. People are donating the Pengu token for it. It's a really, really cool way where crypto is involved in offering something for streamers, right? Because right now, if you're on Twitch, sure, you can subscribe to the channel through that means, but it is like at a set price unless you go and buy bits. But the bits, it goes like half to Twitch, half to me. And it depends if you're a partner, and there's like different landscapes about how that is. YouTube, it's a little bit different as well, but quick, simple, seamless. Very cool to see. But the one weird thing with it, if you haven't checked out the abstract streaming, is there's people that are literally just sitting there streaming. Why? I don't know. I guess that's because they're a part of it, but it's kind of funny to watch. Okay, so D. Finzer, OpenSea's CEO, saying, seeing some confusion out there. It goes without saying, but we haven't forgotten the OGs who helped build this space from day zero. So what is this about? There's a lot of negativity around the fact that OpenSea just launched their OpenSea Pro 2, and it is been listed to use for people that hold the Genesis NFT, which we highlighted the other day. And people thought, oh, this is potentially going to be a multiplier if they have some sort of airdrop or rewards program. And they said that in 2024, December of 2024, we were going to see this big unveil, and it sounded like the token. And there was a finite amount of people that got access to it, and then they got another FUD storm of, okay, why the hell is OpenSea so slow? They seem to be lying. But there was all this talk about the Genesis not being important for anything, or the OGs not getting rewarded, more specifically. But defense are on the timeline saying, whoa, cool your jets just a tiny little bit. Things are still happening. And so here's my thoughts on it. Founders squashing bad rumors is my favorite development in the 2025 market. It's happening more often and faster than ever. We've seen it with Luca and Pudgy Penguin shutting down negative rumors about Pudgy Penguin's abstract rewards. If you recall, the other day, there was a huge cascade in the price across Pudgy Penguin assets from the token to the various NFTs. And it just, there was a lot of bad things around it because there was these rumors that popped up saying, oh, these things are going to have basically zero impact, when that wasn't the case. And Luca got on the timeline saying people know nothing. And then we had Garga from Yuga Labs addressing the FUD around CryptoPunks being sold off, which we covered on the stream as well. Where the rumor came from, I have no idea. It actually mooned the floor of CryptoPunks for a day. I guess it was bullish sentiment or thought if Yuga no longer had it. But then Garga came on the timeline and said that's not the case. We wouldn't move it unless there was reason to. And now OpenSea is reassuring the community that OGs haven't been forgotten. This level of transparency and quick response is exactly what we should want and need. And so this, I had a couple people that were like, transparency and backpedaling, and I was like, okay, what do you mean? And they went into some details about how getting complaints and appeasing those who didn't benefit from the initial announcement. It's like, okay, that's, it's not like a wrong take per se, but I'd rather it get addressed in some notion, because we've had so many teams, projects that say, oh yeah, we're basically partnered with Disney, when that's like not true. And all these rumors end up swirling and people are acting on things, and it's just, just speak up about it. It's better that way. So in the world of sports, everything I can't see without the lens of looking at like the Web3 landscape. So the Ottawa Senators, right? The Ottawa Senators did some promotion because they have a couple games next year that they're going to play in Quebec. And Quebec has been fighting for a team. If you've ever been to Senator games, I don't know if they still do it, but there used to be a cluster in the top section, almost like a soccer event. You know how there's like teams specific to an area, where they got all the seats in a singular section, and it was Quebec Nordique fans, and they would just randomly, like once or twice a period, get up and just start cheering, being, hey, we want a team back, which Ottawa can't do anything necessarily about that, but, the notion to the NHL, whatever. And so they had this like press conference where they did the jersey split. There was half Ottawa Senators and half Quebec Nordiques. Now, the Nordiques team doesn't exist, but try to put it in the lens of, imagine if somebody came down and they had like half Ottawa Senators, half Toronto Maple Leafs. they're the rivals. It would go over horribly. And this is amongst questions about the team relocating and whatnot. So it was just an absolute PR nightmare across across every single senator's account, fan account, etc. And I guess their president said if we could have a do-over on that one, we probably would. And I'm just thinking how many Web3 founders would want to do-over on something. Cheddar Bob, you can't control shit except your state of mind. True. So ignore everything. Be happy and jolly. True, true, true. Okay, so we're formulating a little bit of a thought here. Work with me. Wabam saying it, never been more bullish on Ape Chain. We have strong organic community that rallies around Ape Chain NFTs, the BAYC, and ape culture. Nobody is farming. There will be no extractive airdrop season, but we're still here. So the comparison game is at an all-time high. I kind of enjoyed it before because there was a lot of NFTs and you can go one-to-one, but now we've switched from people caring about NFTs to the chains themselves. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we don't really discuss a lot. Sure, you can play and people are looking for like the, crazy breakout NFTs within certain chains, but we've really gotten to a point where it's okay, you're an Ape Chain Maxi. Okay, you are a Ronin Chain Maxi. Okay, you are an IMX Chain Maxi. Okay, you are an Abstract Chain Maxi. Yo, Cuff, what's going on? You are a Gala Games Blockchain Maxi, right? So we go through all of these different things, and it's all these different ecosystems. So the multi-chain feature that we talked about in a previous year or two, way back, that came true. A lot of people... I mean, that's not like a weird argument to make whatsoever, but I think it is in the context of focusing on the NFTs coming out of certain ecosystems to the ecosystem at the whole, because what we've also seen is NFTs that have launched on certain chains giving a bad name to the chain when it's more somebody chose to build on that with ill intentions, which is then, for whatever reason, causing a negative connotation to that chain, where Ape Chain would be a phenomenal example of it, where I've brought up the one that like literally just copy and pasted the Bored Apes, and they got like DMCA'd and then said, if anybody takes our new stuff, we're going to DMCA you. And it was just like, it's stupid stuff, right? And then so I had the connotation of like, okay, Ape Chain's, that's not great. When it's really like a singular project or a couple of them, but there are other ones that are worthwhile of your attention. But Cuffed, Gal is doing the same, switch from NFTs to chain itself. And it just seems like the pie's bigger there. Why? It seems like that's sort of the deal. So Abstract Chain, the day one happened the other day. And one thing that I thought was kind of weird is that a lot of these were paid mints. And so you look at these and we have Derplets, Abstractors, we have the Abstract Rock, which you guys have probably seen the Ethereum Rock before, which have gone for like hundreds of ETH. And Abstract Punks, Abstract Cats, Abstract Penguins, another Abstract Rod, Abstract Penguins, which is just a copy paste exactly those apes thing that we saw on Ape Chain. It's just, okay, we're going through the motion of the early chain happenings. There's not much you can do about it. It's just a lot of the stuff isn't going to be great. And you don't realize that unless you've partaken in other ecosystems, because to the point a minute ago, when you are a maxi within a chain, you're kind of relying on whatever your previous experience was when you were a little bit more curious. At least that's my case. And so, as I've said on here, I'm like, damn, we've watched Ape Chain, we've watched Root come out. Like, I think for Abstract, it's going to be weird to watch these NFTs initially because I don't think a lot of them are going to have a whole lot of lags. Now, on this topic, we did publish a video yesterday where I interviewed Matt Bartlett from Segment, who's doing a free NFT mint on Abstract, so it's not a paid one. If you're interested in real world assets, marketplaces, all that kind of stuff, again, it's going to be like a full-blown marketplace. If you're wanting to get whitelisted to that, let me know. They gave me a couple spots. We haven't figured out like the best way to go about doing this on the stream because I know some of you guys watch afterwards, but if you are interested in a whitelist spot and you happen to be watching this video, feel free to DM me on X, maybe comment on YouTube, hit me up in the Discord if you're in there. Let me know. We'll try to hook you up on that. But let's continue. So, in this game of comparison, yeah, Roar, you too. If you want one, let me know. Let me know, good sir. Ape versus Root. Now, there's a couple different ways to look at this because obviously I've talked very much about Root and I've been following it, but wow, when you look at the market cap, like we're talking like like 50x difference between the two right now. So we could say, okay, is one overvalued? Is one undervalued? One thing that I've taken away from the past year of really looking at the space is anything that's like a billion market cap, I'm just not touching. I do not care whatsoever because it always seems to struggle around there unless there is big, massive movements. So 600,000 wallets roughly for both of these chains. Ape Chain is at 676 million market cap, where Root is at 30 million market cap. Now, there's a big difference as well between like the total supply of a billion versus 12 billion. 100%. But then also for the volume, one's got 3 million in volume and one has almost 200. One has almost 200 million in volume on the other. So it's just crazy how much the difference is between those. And so food for thought, but also if you're going to have a takeaway, if you're not in either of these ecosystems, is these ones have 600,000 wallets. So for your favorite chain, is it near there? Is it beyond that? Is it under that? Where does it kind of compare to what those two are? Now, not to leave you high and dry about the Root Network, because we did do an interview with Shen the other day. I have posted the full clip, but they uploaded this the other day that was talking a little bit about the perception of Shen talking with Aaron, also the meeting of Brad Garlinghouse. So this is kind of neat, and I just thought I'd play it right quick. And again, we have the full interview on my various pages.
You know, I remember speaking to Aaron earlier last year when XRP was still like 50 cents, right? And I was talking to him and I was asking him why he chose XRP to be the default gas token of the Root network over various other networks he was in talks with, right?
Just to share what it's been like working with the Futureverse team and anything else you can share on that front.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been great. There's certain people at Futureverse who I've known for quite some time now, and I've worked very closely with people like Scott and Brian. Both are fantastic and have been like really great liaisons between us and Futureverse over the last year. And I mean, I've developed a very close relationship with Aaron over this time as well, and we've met up various times in person as well. So yeah, they're all really great to work with, all the ones that I've spent time with, and I really do believe in the vision. And you know, one of the things as well is that I think they share a lot of the grander vision for the XRP ecosystem as well, which I don't think really shines through that often. But you know, I remember speaking to Aaron earlier last year when XRP was still like 50 cents, right? And I was talking to him and I was asking him why he chose XRP to be the default gas token of the Root network over various other networks he was in talks with, right? And he said it's because he met with Brad and David, and he heard about the long-term vision for XRP and what they're building, and he said it very much aligned with what he was doing, and he wanted to make sure that he was aligning himself with winners of the ecosystem.
So one of the things within that conversation that is important is when Shen mentioned that Futureverse was looking at who they wanted to work with. So we have a lot of teams that are still out there, maybe not super well known, right? But they're still deciding where they want to go. If you have a great idea, if you have a great team, if you have the tech for it. I don't know how it works behind the scenes, but it seems like everybody just has any sort of project and they can jump to whatever chain they want, which we've seen in certain NFT collections, right? Okay, we're going to launch on Solana. All right, we're moving over to Polygon. Now we're going back to Solana, or we're going on this chain, that chain. We're started on ETH. Now we're going over Ronin. Everybody's just switch swapping, right? And so it's like, where does the funding come from? Where does people decide to go? In terms of chains that are, a focus for people, XRP is a massive one, but the whole list we went through before, there's so many, there's so much. And Tiger is Fine puts it perfectly. Blockchains are fighting over you. Don't settle for less. We've highlighted games that are doing massive airdrops, just being a part of a chain, bridging, $10, $15, interacting with certain applications. Obviously, there's been certain chains that have gotten massively fudded for certain reasons around that. But I think this is true. Well, all of these chains are fighting for adoption, and they want you because they know once you get hooked on it, you're going to be hooked. So DeepSeek, the valuation is 150 mil. If you guys haven't used it, it's basically ChatGPT, but a free version. If you've used it lately, you've noticed that it probably is down a lot because there's a huge amount of use for it. But this completely crashed the market the other day. The market cap wiped out from the US stock market because of this $150 DeepSeek. $2 trillion. Market cap wiped out from the crypto market, $300 billion because of $150 million DeepSeek. And one app with $150 million valuation has wiped out $2.3 trillion from the stock and crypto market. So talk a little bit about an overreaction. We did see the markets come back from it, but just for a perspective point of view, holy smokes. Speaking of holy smokes, Microsoft is in talks to acquire TikTok, which in the US, did the ban even go through on TikTok? I feel like it did and then didn't. So Rabbit's saying, I'm convinced Moonbird's mythics are the alpha. Look at them, 1 ETH is FUD. And I've kind of, not been the most positive around Moonbirds. But I'm not going to lie, it's not actually a horrible look. Like the art design on these things, it is pretty clean. I do like it. I'm not going to go ahead and spend like an ETH on it. But, fair enough. We like the art. We like the art. So I think this is a spam or a bot account. But this made me think of the Ray Lewis video that we watched the other day. Unfortunately, this world has become profits over people. That's why as a crypto project, I chose Sad Boy. They choose people first. It's about helping one another so that everyone can succeed. Because of this ideology, Sad Boy will be one day prominent crypto because they understand that people matter. So this goes back to the Ray Lewis conversation that we played the other day of him showing the meme coin saying, we're going to help people. It's going to be great. Just goes back to all the stuff with the same verbiage. And I think in 2025, people want to see, to believe. And Gordon Goddard is one of the best people at doing that within the ape culture. They just make a tweet, Bored Ape kind of vibe. And then there's 303 people that quote tweet that with their own version of an ape saying Bored Ape kind of vibe. Why projects do it, I don't know, but it does have a massive pull. Okay, this is a throwback right here. Do you guys remember the one and only JVB? Well, here's a throwback to when we streamed Zedrun, and I think this is back in 2021. So this is early day streams. You talk real loud here, boss. JVB, you're muted or something. I can't even hear you, baby. JVB, you're muted. He can't hear us. I missed it! No, I missed it! I know! So that was JVB in full attire calling his Zedrun race, and that thing was muted the entire time. Blocks, damn, Clay knows quality looks top shelf. So the McDonald's hoodies the other day, everybody started freaking out saying these are garbage. The team had to go on PR control, offering to pay out of pocket to everybody that bought these McDonald's hoodies because the supplier had issues. I don't really know. But Claynosaurs showing some merch here. Does look pretty solid quality. And I saw this from Blinks, thought it was kind of funny. Me listening to a couple of normal people talk about cryptocurrency. True. My reaction as well. Sitting in the back. Okay. So Ray Lewis is in this. We had a whole bunch of other celebrities, which a lot of them came out to be hacked. But Scottie Pippen, this guy has been in the space for a little bit. He launched a meme coin that was supposed to be like a fractionalized version of one of the basketballs from like the championship series back in the 90s for the Bulls. I don't know. Let's just rock with it for a minute. The point being, they're out here in crypto. And let's assume for a second that this is the real Scotty and not somebody that's just running a team. So they tweet, take the biggest effing risk of your entire life right now. Basically telling people to go all in on crypto. And, I had a moment when I read this and I was like, I'm bullish on things too. But why is a person who supposedly has millions upon millions of dollars, can go to sports conventions, sign autographs, and probably make several $100s a day just from attending various events, out here on the timeline telling people about, crypto advice? Because when people get into this space, they just get into it. They enjoy it. They find certain things. Sure, some things goes horrible, but man, is it ever interesting. And I think there would be a lot of people that would appreciate Scotty from the Web3 side if they never did any kind of launch for like the meme coin or whatever the hell else it was, right? For sure. But I think the people that jump into the space that are serious about things, I think there's a little bit of a story behind it, and we can follow it. All right, from Snazzy, what happens when the creative genius of David S. Goyer, the foundation of the Dark Knight trilogy writer, meets the transformative power of AI and blockchain? We're about to find out. So here's a quick article. We'll play a video in just a second. David S. Goyer sets Emergence franchise as new AI and blockchain-driven platform Inception. So first of all, when we talk about Scottie Pippen a second ago, fractionalizing a basketball to be in the crypto space versus David S. Goyer coming through, launching an entire franchise using AI. You can tell the effort level is a little bit different. Foundation in the Dark Knight trilogy writer and producer David S. Goyer has set up a science sci-fi franchise titled Emergence at Inception, a new platform that aims to bring AI and blockchain to Hollywood and redefine how modern franchises are developed. Centered around a white hole in a galaxy, the Emergence franchise will feature various storytelling mediums, including podcasts, comics, and animations. Built using blockchain AI storytelling platform Story, Inception will launch Goyer's project to showcase the potential of this revolutionary model and capture mainstream attention while redefining how IP evolves. Emergence will be created by Inception users as well as through its generative AI tool, Atlas, which is designed to serve as a creative partner to help with common tasks like aggregating ideas, crafting narratives, and generating full videos. So this is phenomenal. I think it's super interesting. The only thing that I, kind of wince at maybe a little bit is the capture mainstream attention. Because it feels like a lot of people have said, we're going to capture the mainstream attention, but we haven't really seen it from a whole lot. So curious if they're able to do so, but here is a video regarding all of that.
For 100 years, the creation of media has been a fundamentally siloed process. But now, thanks to Inception, we can build together. As a storyteller, I've helped build franchises like The Dark Knight, Man of Steel, Blade, and Foundation. Hi, I'm David S. Goyer. I'm creating my next story universe. It's called Emergence, and I'm looking for collaborators. What would happen if you had a galaxy where they discovered a white hole? Every once in a while, these objects tumble out. These objects have tremendous energy and tremendous power, and no one knows where these objects come from. Are they made by the gods? Are they made by demons? Are they made by a race? Are they made by our future selves? No one knows. And that just seemed like a really interesting starting point for what ultimately became Emergence. The whole idea behind Emergence was to create a sandbox. Just give this base layer of the galaxy and these characters and this premise. And within that premise, you can tell almost any story you want to tell. You can tell a horror story, you can tell a romance story. And that's how it will become a stronger story universe. The idea with Emergence and the tools that the Inception platform are providing is, well, what if there were an infrastructure for that? What if people could be compensated? What if we were saying, yes, we want you to create characters for us, and we will track the provenance of that throughout all the different mediums that we propagate the story into. And can I create a storytelling platform that other people can contribute, that other people can add characters to, that other people can sketch out other planets, other relics? I haven't answered the question of who's creating these objects or where they come from, and maybe that's something that will come from someone that's sitting in their home and wherever around the world. They can contribute to this tapestry of stories. It's built to be built upon. Join us.
Yo, Cosmin, what's going on? How are we doing, good sir? Phenomenal to see you. I can do this, be paid to create things to this guy. Sorry if I become more famous than him. Hell yeah, Roar. Love it. Yeah. No, 100%. So, I mean, a couple takeaway for that. And Cosman, that was, if you just got here, that was Emergence, which is built on the story protocol. I don't remember if you saw when they announced like they got some like $100 million in funding or something just absolutely ridiculous. Well, we've seen this across the Web3 space in multiple facets. I would argue that that presentation was probably the best realm of it. But for example, Forgotten Ruins Wizard's Call, which, I mean, Forgotten Ruins Wizard's Call. Hold on, let me see. Okay, I just want to go on like their site right quick. Yeah. So, like, this is an example. This is one of the early NFTs where you can submit and be a part of the Book of Lore, and you can help design out some of these ideas. And this is for kind of a Lord of the Rings, Wizards realm type deal within their universe, right? And so that was one of them. There was another one called Jenkins the Valet that was built upon the Bored Ape Yacht Club IP. And the idea was that people would be able to contribute to the story and whatnot. And this seems very similar to what's happening with Emergence. But I'm curious if that really gets people going, because the thought is amazing, but the implementation comes in several kind of issues, I would say. Because one, I think if you create something that's really, really good, people are going to want to get compensated for it, right? And so how open are these people to offering some kind of compensation? You come to Emergence, you offer a wild, huge, awesome component to that story that they have. Where does it get kind of entangled when you have almost too many people that are a part of kind of crafting that story? Maybe it's harder to follow. I think like the Book of Lore, they have like 10,000 wizards. And so if every single person goes out there and writes a piece to the lore, the team trying to implement that, like, it would take so long to do so. But if it's just kind of a side piece being like, hey, this is a part of that world, that's, something to look at. So intrigued about what happens with it. Again, a big name associated with it, trying to vie for mainstream adoption. Very interested to see what that looks like. Another thing that I saw with this that came to mind is that they offered factions. So if you join Emergence right now, the first thing that it says, like through like linking your wallet and whatnot and sign up with an account, saying join a faction. So they have the kind advances bipeds with the mastery of genetic engineering, the Ghast, secretive militaristic species with matriarchal society and hidden homeworld, the Shard cephalophodes, who color change for communication with a theocratic civilization. All right, we're going for like the big words. Holy smokes. But, okay, hold on. That was just a faction of 3. The third kingdom with Futureverse, Cerebra, Valora, Lumera. Okay. Oh, look, here's another one. We got the triads going again. Oni, Mud, and Ooster. And we could have a conversation a different day about like the name choices for things. I think the names are like all right for this. These ones, again, totally fine. I still think the Lumera logo needs a little bit of work. I feel like these two are cool. This one could be a little bit better. And then for Oni, Mud, and Ooster, I mean, it's kind of weird that somebody called like the Mud. But ultimately, for all of these, I'm pretty sure you have to pick what faction you want to be a part of, and it's non-transferable. Like, I do not understand why we force people to do that. Because it makes me think of World of Warcraft, where if you pick a faction, you have to pay later to switch. And so if you have a friend that joins maybe a couple days after you pick, maybe a couple months later, why are we making these huge decisions in these games when things are kind of just starting? And it feels like a little bit off. Maybe I'm alone in that. Because I do like the idea of a faction, but I think that it also separates people, and I'm not, 50-50 on that. Maybe they want to fish emerging talents I think that that's kind of right, but I don't know if they really are, right? Like, they want people across the space to contribute to like their storytelling, right? Whether it be Emergence, whether it be we just gave a whole bunch of examples and I'm forgetting about them. But the other people that are building out the various story opportunities, Forgotten Ruins Wizard Call, I just remembered. But I don't know if they're necessarily looking for people to hire in that sense, if that makes sense. Intel, Ripple and its civil actions have been removed from the SEC's records. So that's pretty big. I don't know if we saw any uptick necessarily with XRP off of that move. Looks like we just kind of went straight down. True. Look at that big dip the other day. Sheesh. Holy smokes. But yeah, still big news nonetheless. And the other side. Do you guys remember the other side? So the factions that we've seen across multiple Web3 collections. That's cool. But there's a few things to go over. One, they're in their own world. Two, unless you're in that specific world, how are you going to find it? And three, what do you actually do as a faction to elevate that experience of being a part of it, apart from having side chats? So in the case of Futureverse, they have these different challenges right now where people can submit or mint various resources, which is cool. The other ones I can't speak to because I haven't really dove into them, and I apologize for it. But with this graphic on the other side, it shows people that are all different characters, we could say factions even, that are collectively fighting this boss. And every week, I complain about how we don't have an application that can bring everyone together. Is other side going to be that where they're like, oh, this is a cool gun battling game, let's get associated with it? Is Yuga going to open it up to everybody? Is it only going to be holders exclusive? How far away are we from that? But sign this image, I was just like, duh. It feels like we're close. It feels like we're close on a lot of these different opportunities. It's crazy. Okay, so listen, we're going to go through a couple more things just because we have the time while we are on it. And we're going to go over the Doodles CEO. I'm just bringing up the tweets right now. A watch company that had a pretty good funny meme. Abstract mint prices off the rip. What else do we want to talk about on here? There was a lot of takes about the burnt toast situation. So I guess you can kind of look at me while I'm bringing up these different posts. But basically yesterday, there was an announcement that Julian was leaving Doodles. But it wasn't an announcement from Julian. It was an announcement from Burnt Toast. And it said the following. I'm stepping in as Doodles CEO. We're moving to a vision with a strong bias for risk, disruption, radical transparency, and the authenticity that made us who we are in the first place. Ideas transform societies. Today, the disruptors come in many forms. NFTs rewriting ownership, AI bending creativity, and crypto bypassing gatekeepers. These aren't trends. They're real engines of value, and we'll wield them like a flamethrower. Execution isn't just a code or partnership. It's culture too. The extractive corpo era of Doodles is over. We thank Julian for his contributions to the Doodles legacy, but enough talk, let's cook, big things coming. Roar, imagine if I said this. You were the CEO, right? You were the CEO, and on the day that you leave, I say the extractive corporate era of Doodles is over. Would you not be like, Shill, are you talking shit about me? And I'd be like, no, maybe you caught me. Maybe you caught me. Like it feels this line was so unnecessary. And a lot of the timeline brought it up. Enough talk, deaf a diss. It's crazy. Young Algae, how we doing, boss? It's crazy. And I don't think Doodles had that much negativity. Now, speaking specifically for myself, I was a part of the Doodle generative or the Genesis boxes. So if anybody hasn't seen, basically there was these boxes and you got Doodles merch within them. And they did this like reverse Dutch auction kind of thing. It was kind of like a cash grab. I know we haven't said that in a while, but it was like, you could have had this at like a flat price. Obviously you want to go with the band. Then Wales came through, moved the prices up of things. And then nothing happened with the boxes except for clothing at a point later on. And it didn't feel good. It wasn't good at all, whatever. And then you move along and they have the base passes for like $5. I'm like, okay, perfect. Great example. And then you were able to watch the first Doodle animation. Great. And then there was more Doodle clothing that came out, but it was through this collaboration with McDonald's, which, I mean, it's kind of corporate as well. And I felt like the Doodles collab went over quite well. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm trying to think of what else we would call like corporate about Doodles. Like, I really don't know in that sense. So it's cool that Burnt Toast is taking over. I think the art style is one of the biggest things for Doodles. A lot of people really think that it's nice. I agree. But I don't, like, this has caused like unnecessariness. Because for Yuga, I totally get. The other side mint, the stuff that just in general kind of happened around it, it didn't feel good. And you could tell the people that were in charge had no idea what they were doing in Web3. And I think you guys are all geniuses for that, right? Like, we're really good. We're sniffing out the BS. You know what I mean? We're phenomenal at that within Web3. And I don't think that people really thought that about Doodles. Like, maybe certain things didn't work the right way, or maybe the floor price wasn't what they wanted at a point, but I wouldn't say Doodles is corporate. But if anybody else has other thoughts on that, I would love to hear it. Algae, McDonald's, Kyle Rich collab early before 41 blows up. Wayne, Adidas, yacht. There was holy shit. You're right. There was so many different things. Yeah. So sorry, let me slow that down a little bit. They had Lil Wayne. Right. So I'll just bring up the Lil Wayne because he was like the skeleton within that. Adidas partnered with them at a point. Pharrell, I'm pretty sure he was launching an album or he had a component of it. They used his likeness for a lot of things. There's videos out of him wearing friggin' Doodles merch. Like, there was a lot of really, really good things that came out with it. I get the hoodie was messed up, but I felt like they were bringing the culture by tapping in with the right trends. Okay, so food for thought on that thought. Did the McDonald's hoodie collab cost them so much money that the day after they fired their CEO? I mean, how many McDonald's hoodies did they sell? And we've seen merch issues like across Web3 as a whole. So I don't think that that's big enough to fire somebody over, but maybe it is. Roar, I'm just saying, I always said this, guys, NFTs collections are way lost and don't have any idea what to do with their brands. Are you talking about like Doodles, or what do you mean? In what sense? Because I don't know. I thought Doodles weren't too bad, but curious if you got more thoughts on that, Roar. So speaking of mints and things that were maybe a little bit overhyped or not the way that you wanted, abstract NFTs, Whale.mocha saying that there was ones that had a 0.055 ETH mint price to 0.057. Okay, so we're up. And Pixel Lady. Wait, hold on. So Bearish is an NFT? Hold on a minute. No. Hold on a minute. Let me type this in. Bearish abstract. Bearish Magic Eden abstract. They foes not to diminish. Does this have a green background? Oh. Okay, so it's the, sorry, I think on that tweet down below, there was an image. Apologies. I started reading that, but I didn't get the full context. So they haven't revealed yet, but they're at 0.052. So they're actually down. They were up, but now they're down a little bit. Pixel Lady is the other one here. 0.038. Those ones haven't been revealed either. 0.038, but had a mint price of 0.05. So the lessons, it's not the right environment to charge high mint prices. I don't get it. Anything day one on these new chains always usually kind of have some caution around it. 0.05 ETH seems too high unless you are one of the top new projects. And to think for a second, back in the day, you could mint a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT for 0.08. A Doodle you could get for 0.123. And so you shave off like 0.02. You save off $30. And you have what these things are on day one. But people are on the timeline fighting the old guard. I don't get it. When you mint, make sure the NFTs can't be listed. There's others. But the point being is just I don't know what people thought or expected for abstract day one regarding some of the NFTs. Most of them, they don't know how to deliver a concrete product. They lack maybe experience or decisions, maybe knowledge on what or how to really make something work. That's my opinion, not perception on how to escalate and make it all worth growing. Wow, listen, Roar, I hear you. So watches.io, amongst all this, playing off the fact that we've had a lot of hacks and companies, people launching meme coins. Yo, we heard Rolex dropped a new coin. And then they put the contract address. But in it, if you actually read it, it says the 116,508 John Mayer is discounted for AI, 81,500 mint new. I don't really get like what the hell this is supposed to mean, but it would have been so funny if they like had it like it's just slightly more clever. But it's a good concept. If you're in marketing out there, maybe that's something for you to take and use on your own, spin it your own way, because that shit is good. I'm just scrolling through if there's anything else we want to bring up before we leave today. So this is a fair one. And this is about the Doodles conversation that we just had a second ago. So what were the mechanics behind someone just being able to fire the CEO and name themselves the new CEO? Bizarre. Like, getting McDonald's partnership wasn't good enough. It is weird. Like, what the hell? And then Steve Bart went on kind of a huge rant about that as well. And as Algie was just saying a second ago, that there was sort of the same vibe on that one. And this is another example of what's coming out in abstract right now. The Pengs Tracted, whatever the hell this is. We love digital communities, guys. We really do. All right, that's it for this edition of XFeed. I hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your Wednesday. Again, if you're wanting to listen down to the podcast, have all of that. Again, streams from the rest of the week down on the live feed. Thank you so much. Roar, Young Algie, Cosman, appreciate you coming through, even though a little bit late, as we say. And Cuff, thanks for coming through as well. And I'm going to be watching on the Vibe. Peace. We'll talk soon.